Holly with Stella Maris Quilts. Welcome to our series on 50 blocks for 50 states, following along with the designs from this book. Check out the description box below for more information about that, as well as the link to the pattern we have for today's block. Today's block is for Pennsylvania. It is going to be a paper pieced block, so go ahead and grab your cup of tea and let's get started. Starting with our paper piecing, we're going to start with our center piece. And I have my print side is face down. I have my paper piece. I'm going to stick this on here just like that. I'm making sure that there's at least 1/4 to 1/2 inch all the way around. And I'm going to put a pin in here. If you wanted to use a glue stick, you could use a glue stick. That would work as well. I'm going to switch to one of my other pins with the silicone tip. They're flatter. There. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold back the paper right on that stitch line between number 1 and 2. I can measure then 1/4 inch. And I'll trim that away. Then I can fold this back, flip it over, and I have a straight line to line up my next section. Just going to make sure when I fold this back that it's all covered, and it will be, so we're good there. I'm just going to line this up. I can move that pin. Where'd it go? Oh, it's on the other side. So going through all of it, just so it stays in place on that first one, I'm going to go ahead and bring it to the machine here and stitch on the line. I'm shortening my stitch length down to 1.5. I'm going to back stitch just a couple stitches at the start and stop. You can stitch a few stitches past the line if you want to. I prefer just doing the start and stop, or on this one because there's nothing on the ends. I might just leave it, it's fine. Pull that pin out. Push this back. I'm going to go ahead and just finger press or use my seam roller. My toddler daughter stole my seam roller, so I'm not really sure where it is. And then I'm going to flip. I'm going to do the second section. So now I'm on step 3. Go ahead and fold on the line there. Nope, that's not straight. That's straight, that's straight. I'm going to line this up so I can measure my 1/4 inch seam allowance. Trim away, push this back, flip it over, line up my fabric, and then I'm going to go to the sewing machine and stitch it down. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to press that back. Again, just using my finger. Just do a finger press. I can take this to the iron at any point. Just make sure that you use a dry iron. You don't want any steam messing with the paper. Now I've stitched everything down for this section of the block. So I'm going to go ahead and trim now. The templates that I've prepared have a dotted line around the outside edge. That's your cut line. And will give you your 1/4 inch seam allowance as when you put things together. Now I'm going to do another piece. And I think I'll do the top next. So I have my piece, I've trimmed around the outside edge roughly. I have 3 steps on this one as well. I'm going to start by putting my dark in the center. That's face down, making sure that there's plenty of space around. Go ahead and put a pin in that. If your pin doesn't want to work, like mine doesn't want to work, you can always just hold it, or you can use a glue stick and just put a dab of glue. That works too. I'm going to go ahead and fold on the line. Make sure that it's folded. Then I can trim away my 1/4 inch. Take my piece here. I'm going to just check placement. Move my pin. Flip this over and I'm going to sew on the line. I'm actually starting with a few stitches going backwards. Finger press that down. Do the same thing on the other side here. I'm going to fold on the line. Use my ruler, trim away a 1/4 inch. And then when I flip this over, I can line this up. If you want to put a pin in it, you can. It's small enough that I feel comfortable just shifting it. I'm going to push this back, just finger pressing it. And I'm going to go ahead and trim. And there's that one. You can see that I have a little paper visible on this corner here. I'm not worried about that for this particular block, because when I put this together right here, actually got my centers right there that I can line up. That part that's visible is going to be part that's sticking out on the end, and I'll end up trimming that off. So I'm not worried about that particular corner, but normally you want to make sure that all of your space is covered by the fabric. So we've got 2 sections done for the block, and we're going to move on to the 3rd. We're going to follow the same process. I have my fabric face down. I have my paper piecing template here, and I am just going to lay this down, make sure that everything's covered. I can hold this up to a light. I have a light off to my side here that I'm looking through, and I can make sure that I have everything aligned. That's good. I'm going to put a pin in it just so that it stays in place. And then I'm going to go to that step 1, then step 2, I'm going to fold on the line right there. Make sure it's on the line. Okay. Trim away for my 1/4 inch seam. Push this back. Take my piece. I like to just kind of test it by folding it, making sure that it's all gonna cover, and it will. Just check my placement. Okay. I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and sew on the line. I will finger press this back. just like that. It looks like I'm going to have a bit uncovered, but when I held it up to the light, that's actually just excess from when I trimmed around my template. So now I can take my pin out because it's secured. Move on to step 3. Make sure that's pretty much on the line. Trim away the 1/4 inch seam allowance. This over. Add my piece. If you're wanting to make sure it stays secure and not move, you can always put a pin right there to hold it. As I'm going, I'm making sure that everything's going to be covered. Going on to step 4 here. And my edge is pretty good. Kind of eyeballed that when I was putting on the first piece just to be pretty much right on. I'm going to take my last piece of fabric here. Just going to make sure it's lined up. Just going to finger press that back. And that was my last step for this unit. So now I'm going to go ahead and trim. Okay. Now we're going to sew the units together to make one quadrant of our ending block. So we've got the center and I'm calling it the top. I'm going to put those together. There's a center mark on the template, so you can look to see that those 2 center points are lining up. I'm just kind of pressing back on my nail to fold it and seeing that they're nice and lined up. You can put a pin if you want to, just to hold it when you take it to the machine. I'm going to go ahead and sew. I sewed on the line there, and because I got everything lined up, it's on the same line for the back piece. So when I fold it back, the seam lines line up nice and perfect right there. You may opt to press this open. It's up to you. I think I'm probably going to press them open. But you can see I've got little wings here, so that's where I'm just going to use my scissors and just trim those off. And then we're going to sew on the last piece. Again, I marked to center on the templates. So if you just fold one towards the fabric and one towards the paper, you can just put those in and they'll nest together. And if you want to, you can pin that and then just sew it together. I'll go ahead and trim that here and trim that here. Push it back. And that's one quadrant for our block. I'm going to go ahead and make the other 3, and then we will talk about the layout. Now that I have all 4 of my quadrants, I'm going to go ahead and lay out the block. We're going to turn it so that the points of our little trees here are all pointing to the center. And then I'm just going to sew this together like a 4-patch.
And here's the finished Pennsylvania block.
Thank you for joining me today working on the Pennsylvania block. This was a lot of fun doing some more paper piecing. It's not something I do a lot, but I seem to be doing it a little bit more during this series. I hope you enjoyed this and you continue watching as we continue through all of our 50 states. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out when a new video is released. Until next time, cheers and happy quilting.